Welcome to the unit of Indian Constitution, third unit. In this unit, we are going to learn about the Union Government and State Government of India. So here we are going to mainly discuss about six important areas like Union Government, State Government, and who makes the laws in India in national level and legislative state level. So these are the things we are going to discuss, and finally we are going to discuss about the emergency provinces and understand what happens to government power, rights and administration. So let's see the unit. So what is a union government? So union government is also called as the central government. It is a government that works for the entire country of India. For example, India has many states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and Maharashtra. But there are certain matters which cannot be handled by every state. These matter requires a common government for the whole country. For example, national defense. We cannot have one defense policy for Tamil Nadu and another completely different defense policy for Karnataka. So defense is a matter related to the entire country and it has to be handled by the union government. Similarly, matters such as foreign affairs, currency, banking policies, national highways, railways, atomic energy, and space programs are mainly handled by at the union level. The union government has power over the whole country and it is not limited to one particular state or region. The first is the legislature at the union level. The legislature is the Parliament of India. The Parliament consists of President, Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha. Parliament makes the law of the country. The second is the executive. The President is the constitutional head of India. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers help in taking important decisions and implementing laws and policies. The third is the judiciary at the national level. The Supreme Court of India is the highest court and it protects the constitution and ensures justice. Suppose the government wants to introduce a national policy related to defense. This cannot be separately decided by the Tamil Nadu or Kerala state governments. It need to be handled at the national level. So it is the constitution provision relating to the union government are given in Part 5 of the Constitution, including Article 52 onwards. So, next we are going to see about the state government. So, the state government is the government responsible for administrating a particular state. For example, the Tamil Nadu state government is responsible for administration and development within Tamil Nadu. Similarly, Kerala has its own state government and Karnataka has its own state government. The state government deals with many matters that are directly affected the daily life of the people in the state. Like education, health, policy and public orders, roads, agriculture, irrigation, local government and certain state taxes. Suppose there is a problem with the government hospital in local, that is our state. The administration of the state hospital is mainly connected to the state government. Similarly, police and public orders are important responsibility on the state level. The state government has also three main organs like the union government. First is the legislative. The state legislative makes the law for the state. The main legislative house is the Legislative Assembly or Vidhan Sabha. Some states also have a second house called Legislative Council, Vidhan Parshad. Second is the executive. The governor is the constitutional head of the state. but the chief minister, the real executive head, and works with the council of ministers. Third is the judiciary. The high court is the highest court at the state level. So the state government does not function independently of the constitution. It works according to the constitution of the nation, that is constitution of India. These provisions related to the state government are mainly covered in the Part 6 from Article 152 to Article 237. So, when we explain in a simple way, union government works for the whole country, whereas the state government works for a particular state. Example, Indian Railways is a union level subject, whereas the state level public administration, such as police, public transportations like buses, so these and all comes under the state government. Both government have different responsibilities, but ultimately they work for the common goal, that is welfare and the development of the people. So let we are having a question. Who makes the law? That is, in India, laws are made at different levels. That is, at national level, we have a parliament, and at the state level, we have the state legislature. Parliament makes laws for the entire country on subjects assigned to the union level and on matters where the constitution gives parliamentary lawmaking authority. The state legislature makes laws for the respective state on subjects assigned to the state level. The constitution also divides legislative subjects into different lists. The three important things which are listed are union list, state list, and concurrent list. That is, suppose we talk about defense. Defense is a national matter, so it comes under the union level. Now, suppose we talk about the police and public order. These are primarily state level. Then we have a concurrent. That is, both parliament and state legislative can make laws on subjects, including in this list, subject to constitutional rules. For example, uh, sub that is a concurrent that both the union government and the state government may have laws relating to that subject, like concurrent list. Now we can see about the parliament. In parliament, who are the members? The parliament consists of president, Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha. And when a proposed law is introduced as a bill, it is discussed and debated in the parliament. After being passed through the required parliamentary process, then only it goes to the president assent. Similarly, at the state level, it is the state legislature discusses and passes the bills, and the required constitutional procedure is followed before a bill becomes a law. So, Parliament makes law mainly for the country as a whole, while state legislature makes the law mainly for the respective states. Imagine in our college we have two levels of rules. Some rules may apply to the entire college, such as common examination regulations, but some rules may be specifically for a particular department, such as department level activities. Similarly, the Constitution distributes the law making responsibility between the union and states. So let's see who runs the government. There are four important terms we can see in this slide, that is President, Prime Minister, Governor, and Council of Ministers. So first we see about the President of India. President is the constitutional head of India, where the president performs important constitutional functions. The president also gives the assessment to bills passed through the parliament as required by the constitution. So in the previous slide we have discussed about it. However, in the parliamentary system, the president normally acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. So next, the Prime Minister is the head of the government at union level. The Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers and plays the major role in government decision making and policy direction. For example, in the union government wants to introduce a major national program. The Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers play an important role in deciding and implementing that program, like NEP, National Education Policy. So let's see about the governor. Governor is the constitutional head of the state and he is appointed by the President of India. At the state level, the governor generally works with the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, headed by Chief Minister. Where we have a Council of Ministers includes the Prime Minister and other ministers at the union level, and the Chief Minister and ministers at the state level. They help in making policies, implementing laws, and running the government. So we can take a similar example like college. The management may have a person who holds the highest formal position, like administrator, where is carried out by the principal and the administration team. Similarly, in India parliamentary system, we have constitutional heads and the elected government that actually manages day-to-day administration. So let's remember these 4 points. Mainly, president is the constitutional head of India, whereas Prime Minister is the head of the union government, Governor is the constitutional head of the state, Council of Ministers, executive bodies that helps to run the government. These are some four important persons who runs the government. So let's check what happens in crisis and emergency cases. Suppose the country faces a situation involving war, external aggression, something. The Constitution provides special emergency provisions so that the government can respond to serious situation. There are three types of serious emergencies mentioned in the Constitution. The first is the national emergency under Article 352. It can be declared in situations such as war, external aggressions, or armed rebellion. During such an emergency, the union government gets additional powers and the relationship between the union and the state can change according to the constitutional provisions. The second is the state emergency or president rule under Article 356. This applies when the constitutional machineries of the state cannot function according to the constitution. In such a situation, the president can assure certain functions of the state government according to the constitution. The third is the financial emergency under Article 360. This relates to a situation where the financial stability or credit of India or part of India is threatened. During emergency provisions, there are also constitutional safeguards. For example, emergency proclamation are subject to the required parliamentary approval and constitutional procedures. There can also be judicial review, meaning that the courts can examine constitutional questions relating to the emergency exception. So we can understand with a simple example. Imagine the college campus suddenly faces a major security problem. Normally, every department may handle its own activity, but during a serious crisis, the college administration may take temporarily centralized control to manage the situation. Similarly, emergency provisions also the constitutional system to respond to extraordinary situations. So, emergency powers are meant for exceptional situations only. It cannot be applied for simple factors, and they are not meant to be as a permanent change or for a normal democratic system. So, what changes during the emergency? So, During the emergency, the union government can exercise greater control according to the constitution. For example, directions can be given to the states and certain state matters can be affected depending on the type of the emergency. The main purpose is to allow the government to respond quickly to the crisis. Next is the fundamental rights. The Constitution provides a specific provisions regarding to the effect of emergency of fundamental rights. For example, as mentioned in the slide, Article 358 and 359. Article 358 delays the operations of Article 19 during the national emergency circumstances specified by the Constitution. Article 359 deals with the President's power to suspend right to move courts of enforcement of specified fundamental rights. So, students don't simply remember that all fundamental rights are cancelled. That is not the correct way. The Constitution provides specific rules and limitations regarding which rights and remedies can be affected. Third is administration, where the government may need stronger law and order measures. For example, restrictions may be imposed on certain activities if necessary for public order or national security according to law. The government may also give more attention to essential services and national security, but the emergency provisions are temporary and constitutions in nature. So, emergency is not a permanent solution, it is a temporary. And their main is to deal with the crisis and restore to normal conditions. So we should not think emergency as the end of the democracy. Instead, emergency provisions are constitutional mechanism to deal with the extraordinary situation subject to the constitutional safeguards and review. So, with an example, we can say that a school or a college works with the usual rules and administrative, but suppose there is a major natural disaster or serious security problem, the administrator may temporarily introduce special measures to protect students and maintain essential service. Once the situation becomes normal, those special measures should be withdrawn. The same basic idea helps to us to understand here. So we conclude that first in this unit we have seen about the importance of union government in national policies and state government at the state level and who makes the law and how it is executed and what is the emergency provisions like Article 352, 56 and 360. So these are some important factors which are which you have to know in the Unit 3 of Indian Constitution. Thank you.